He kōna I purangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
No mai, ki te hōtaka or news to me. I'm Izzy and I'll be unwrapping this week's top stories as you begin the school holidays. First up, some good news. New Zealand has moved to a lower COVID alert level just in time for the holidays. The orange traffic light means there are no limits on numbers in cafes and other venues. So head out to those big events this weekend with more freedom. Mask rules also changed, so when you're back from holidays, it will be up to your school to decide whether to keep masks on or off. There were happy, emotional scenes at airports this week as the border reopened to Australians, and family and friends were reunited. How beautiful. New Zealand's border closed down 2 years ago to stop the spread of COVID-19, with strict limits on who could travel here. There were amazing scenes as friends and whānau met up, some after a very long time apart. Travellers from the US and UK will be welcomed back from May 1st, and if your family is planning an overseas trip these holidays, enjoy spreading your wings. And make sure you have heaps of fun. Speaking of travel, what about a trip into space? Well, the first private team of adventurers has been welcomed aboard the International Space Station. The crew aboard the Dragon capsule landed 420 kilometres above the Atlantic Ocean after a 21-hour trip, reaching speeds of nearly 7,000 kilometres an hour. That's seriously fast. It's the start of a week-long science mission, and it's thought it might show us what spaceflight could look like in the future for tourists and travellers. Now, could you do that? Would you go to space? Did you know astronauts often use a soft toy as a zero-gravity indicator? When the toy starts floating, they know they are in microgravity. It's a pretty cool fact. Now, something really big has come to Tamaki Makaurau, and it's super exciting. The skeleton of the greatest predator that ever lived, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, is heading straight for the city's museum. It's called Peter. That's right, Peter, and it's one of the rarest, most complete T-Rex skeletons in the world. And no, it's not a replica, but real bones, 12 metres long and 4 metres high. Go check it out, maybe even this weekend. Colombian police have rescued over 1,000 smuggled animals this week. Exotic birds, snakes, turtles, starfish and tarantulas are just some of the species saved. They are now in the care of environmental authorities. Colombia is one of the world's most biodiverse countries, and police say they've rescued nearly 6,000 animals from potential trafficking so far this year. That's great news. It's time for another Sweet Explainer now. How exciting! Just in time for Easter, here's all you need to know about sugar.
It's Easter weekend. Time to crack into those eggs. No, not those eggs. These ones.
So, is sugar really that bad for you? Let's start with some sugar facts. Bud, lay it on us.
Sugar is a sweet substance extracted from sugar cane and sugar beet. Excuse me. There are two sugar groups, natural and added. Natural sugars are found in whole food products like fruit and vegetables, whereas processed foods have added sugar to increase their taste.
Okay, so check this out. Health studies show that natural sugars are okay, but that we shouldn't be consuming more than 30 grams of added sugar each day. That is approximately 7.5 teaspoons. On average, there are 9 teaspoons of added sugar in energy drinks, 10 in fruit juice, 15 in sports drinks, and around 16 in fizzy drinks.
Oh, that sounds like bad news.
You see where I'm going with this? We consume a lot of added sugar, and excess sugar leads to tooth decay, it can cause weight gain, heart problems, and issues like diabetes. It's a condition that affects your body's ability to turn food into energy. So yes, excessive sugar intake does have a very bad long-term effect on our bodies. But why do we love sugar so much?
Sugar releases a chemical in the brain called dopamine.
Oi!
Dopamine fires up the reward system in your brain, making you feel good.
So, how do you fight the sugar rush? Think of added sugar products as sometimes treats and natural sugar foods as everyday eats. When you're craving that dopamine rush, you could reach for an apple instead and reward your body by making a healthier choice. Try to substitute sugary drinks with H2O, which has a total of, drumroll, no sugar. What? It can be hard to remember that healthier choices now will help you as you grow. But the more you know, the more it will show. You will have more energy, your smile will be whiter, and your body will love you for it.
Got it. So I can eat my Easter chocolate and remember it's a sometimes treat. Thanks, guys. That was news to me. I'm Evie Orb, and this episode was made by TVNZ and RNZ and is public interest journalism funded through NZ On Air. You or your parents can follow the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, or just about any podcast app. Plus, you can watch News to Me on TV2 every Friday afternoon or listen to it just before the 7 o'clock news on Saturday mornings on RNZ National. We'll be back next week when we'll be looking at the week's news and going deeper into war and why it happens.